I think you're supposed to be joining. You don't show up, you get shamed. Good evening. Oh, I don't need to unmute myself. Okay,
No, I think it was the YouTube.
got it.
No, 1 second.
Hi to all the panelists joining us this evening. Can you hear me right now? Give a wave. Great. Welcome. We're going to get started in just a minute. Marisa, have we let the attendees in?
Yes.
Great. In that case, we will go ahead and get started. Welcome to the panelists and the attendees who are in attendance with us tonight. And hi, Vicky. Hi, Colleen. You are at the November meeting of Manhattan Community Board 5's Transportation and Environment Committee. I'm the chair, EJ Kalifarsky, alongside my Vice Chair Sam Levy. Welcome. We have 3 items on our agenda tonight. 2 letters from DOT with recommended bus stop locations, and a presentation from the Fifth Avenue Association on their proposed 2023 holiday streets proposal. We'll progress through each of the items on the agenda in turn, starting with those 2 bus stop requests. For each item on our agenda this evening, we will hear some of the details about the item. We will present an opportunity for the applicant to add any additional details about the item if they'd like to. At that point, we'll open things up to any questions from members of the committee that any members might have, followed by an opportunity for any members of the public who are in attendance to ask any question or provide any comment on that item. We'll try to do this efficiently, and we'll try to make sure that each item, that each comment is limited to 2 minutes maximum if you are going to make a comment. Finally, we will, for each item on the agenda, we'll go into our business session. During the business session, only members of the committee will speak amongst ourselves to determine what, if any, official action to take as a committee on that item. And then we'll go through that entire process for all the items on our agenda this evening. So without further ado, we will dive right into our agenda. The first item on our agenda this evening is an application for a sightseeing bus stop from USA Guided Tours LLC. This is for a location on 7th Avenue on the west side of the street between 50th and 51st Street. Some detail that DOT has provided in their letter. 7th Avenue between 50 and 51st. This is a sightseeing bus line, so it will travel only within New York City. The operator is Guided Tours LLC. The current regulation at the site is no standing, and it's also an existing bus stop for Gray Line New York Tours. There's a proposed 5 daily pickups Monday to Sunday between 8:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. There's a proposed 5 daily drop-offs Monday to Sunday from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. And the contact is Pedro. So Pedro, thanks for joining us today. Did you have any other details that you wanted to provide about the service proposed for this location?
Thank you to everyone for listening to us. No other details. Our office is only 2 blocks away from there. We've been operating on the area for the last 9 years, almost this November. And we never had any issues really with anybody in the neighborhood. It's a very easy location to get to for our clients. We get people from all the hotels in the area I don't know what or the details. We're a very small company. It's only 4 people in the office, and between tour guides and drivers, we have a group of about 35 people that we provide work for.
Okay. Thank you. One or two follow-ups. Is the service that's operating at this location going to be part? There are other stops before and after this on the route, correct?
Our tour is about 6 hours. So depending on the street closures that happen all the time, street fairs, parades, we do 5 stops along the way. Depending on where we can go on the moment, the people has options, and we give the clients information that if one location is not available to reach that day, we'll find an alternative location which is of similar importance for the clients. So we ride from Midtown to Central Park, then down to Rockefeller Center, and all the way downtown to the World Trade Center, where people usually get off to have lunch and visit the 9/11 Memorial. And then we take a boat for the people to see the Statue of Liberty. After that, we come back to Midtown and drop them off. The people arrives we ask them to be there 20 minutes before the start of the tour, which is either at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. And then they finish the tour between 3 and 3:30, depending on traffic. And the second part of the tour finishes between 4 and 4:30. The pickup takes a little longer, about 20 minutes. The drop-off takes 5 to 10 minutes at most. We are not in the Midtown area during the rest of the tour, or at least of the pickup area in the Times Square area. We just pick them up, drive around, do the tour, and drop them off in the afternoon.
Okay, thanks very much, Pablo. I'll open things up to any questions from the committee in just a second. But just for the benefit of the committee members, I'll give a little reminder here that our precedent and our process for dealing with these applications is to obviously provide this, a public hearing for any comment about this location as being proposed by DOT for this bus service. For any comment, obviously from members of the community who sit on the committee, and from any members of the public who wish to speak about this location. From there, we characterize and summarize the feedback that we've received for DOT about this specific location, as either not having heard any concerns about the location, or as having heard concerns or objection and what those were. We don't currently know what other locations for this proposed service were assessed by DOT. And we know that DOT, for legal reasons, will not deny this type of application. And so our best way of participating here is characterizing the community feedback about this specific location versus, say, another location. So that having been said, that being reminded of our process and the characterization of the feedback, which we will hopefully ultimately adopt as our resolution as pertains to this request. That having been said, are there any other questions for the applicant right now from any members of the committee? If you're in the room, if you're on Zoom as a member of the committee, please use the raise hand function. If you do have any question, if you're in the room, use your actual raise hand function.
EJ?
Yeah.
Just a question, you may have mentioned it, Pedro, but how much time does the bus spend idling to pick up passengers? And typically, I know you mentioned passengers come 20 minutes before. How long does that entire transition period last at the stop?
The buses, we try to keep them off as much as possible. But if there are people already on the bus gets hot during the summer, especially at some point, we gotta get it going. But we don't, we try to hold the people as much as we can so we can get them on the bus. The tour guides we pay them an extra 30 minutes so they can be there early. As soon as the bus is filled with the people, the bus is moving. So very rarely we'll be holding the bus on for a long time because the buses can get damaged too because of being stopped and being operating with air or with air conditioner or with the heating. So we try to move them as soon as possible and do the minimum possible with the bus on when the people are on the bus already.
Thank you.
PJ, yes, Pedro? Yeah, Joel.
Pedro, it sounds like all the passengers pre-arrange with you for their tour, or are you soliciting on the street?
No, sir. All passengers come from TripAdvisor, Expedia, Booking.com, so they're all prepaid. We rarely ever have somebody that comes to the bus directly. We're usually sold out. We are not a hop-on, hop-off type of operation. We sell an exact number of seats. We never oversell our buses, so we don't have that much problem. Once in a while, somebody shows up early for the tour, so if we can accommodate them, we accommodate them in that bus. We send the bus to do a loop, so if somebody's late, we don't have to hold the bus. We can walk them to another location and they can catch up with the bus in the other location.
Pedro, apologies if you mentioned this already, but how many buses total do you operate? How many physical buses are within your operation?
We have right now 6 buses and 5 Mercedes-Benz vans, Sprinter vans.
Okay.
That's all the fleet that we have in New York City. Once in a while, depending on demand, we might need to rent from another company if that is needed, but it usually doesn't happen.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the committee? Okay. With that, we'll turn to any questions or comments from members of the public who are in attendance. If you are an attendee and you have a question for the applicant or a comment on this location, please use the raise hand function in Zoom now so we can get a total sense of who would like to speak this evening. Seeing only one, we will dive into comments from members of the public. Starting with Carlo. Carlo, if you can please state your affiliation or where you live in the neighborhood and your comment. Please try to limit it to about 2 minutes. You can now unmute yourself.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm Carlos Steinman. I'm with the Times Square Alliance. I just wanted to comment on this one. Our only concern with the potential siting is the proximity to the Winter Garden. It sounds like, based on the timing that Pedro has shared, there will not be an issue with egress, but we did want to mention that the Winter Garden is there and does let out about 1,500-ish people once to twice a day. So that's our only concern. But beyond that, we're satisfied with the location for this.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Carlo. Well, are there any other comments from any members of the public? Not seeing any, we will take it into our business session on this item. Thanks, Pedro, for the information you've provided already. This could be pretty cut and dry. As a reminder, again, it's been our precedent to take what we've heard about this application and characterize it as either having heard no significant concerns from the community, or whether there was like very significant concern and objection, and to detail those. Just to start off, it sounds in this case like we haven't heard many significant concerns from the community. Although we could certainly still in a resolution to that effect point out the detail that Carlo pointed out, even though it does not seem to be a concern given the timing. Yeah, Zul, did you have?
I think
we don't have anyone from the DOT with us.
We are joined online by Colleen, today.
Hi, everyone. It's Colleen Chatterton from DOT. How are you?
Hi, Colleen.
So may I adjust my questions, Colin?
What is your question?
The question is, do we have an idea? Because we now have two new applicants for this same stop, and I take it we have an existing applicant. I'm wondering if they've taken into account if there's a clash in the pickup and or the drop off.
That's an excellent question. So whenever we get requests from applicants for, to share one location, we look at their schedules, their timings of the schedule to make sure there's no conflict. So yes, we do look at that.
Thank you.
And in this
Yep.
case, Colleen, if the times of day do overlap, which I think they do between these two applications, I mean, in that particular case, are you just assuming that, the rate of the bus pickups is not too much as to overwhelm the site?
Correct. And again, we always, explain to the applicants, it's about expeditious pickup and drop off. We don't want these buses to be laying over for long periods of times because that's not the intent of issuing the permit for.
Okay, thanks. And since there is a existing permit at this location, Gray Line, can you let us know whether you happen to know if Gray Line is currently operating there too?
I can let you know. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Thanks. So I'm, a good thing to raise as well, and I think we could add it to a resolution if we wanted to, but again, it sounds like given the timing and the rate of pickups and drop-offs and DOT's detailing to the applicants, how quickly they should be picking up, that there hasn't been a significant concern raised yet. Any other comments or thoughts from members of the committee? As pertains to a resolution, that would probably characterize this as not having heard significant concern, but maybe just noting the things that we have talked about.
Motion to approve. In that line.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you for the motion and second. We will take it to a vote. We'll start with Mohit,
Yes.
Ankur,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tristan,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Tiffany.
Yes.
Thank you. David,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
Zool,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Sam.
Yes.
Yes. All right, thanks very much, Pedro, for joining us and for answering our questions. We appreciate it. This characterization of the feedback will go to our full board meeting for a final vote by the full board, which I believe probably takes place on Thursday, November 9th, which you're free to attend and join the public session there if you'd like to or not. Entirely up to you, but thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Our second application of the evening is an application for another sightseeing bus stop from Go New York Tours, doing business as Top View Sightseeing for the same location at 7th Avenue on the west side of the street between 50th and 51st Street. This Go New York Tours, this would be a sightseeing bus. As mentioned, it's the same location and has that existing Gray Line permit, though we are not sure if they're currently operating. This would be for a series of daily pickups and drop-offs, Monday through Sunday from 9:15 a.m. to 5:15 p.m. with a frequency of one trip every hour. Presumably that's one pickup and one drop-off each hour. And I believe we're joined by Hassan.
Yes.
Hi there. Thanks for joining us. Are there any other details about this location of the operation that's proposed for the location that you'd like to share with the committee?
I just wanted to share that W Sightseeing, had been operating at the same location from about mid 2016 through about April 2023. So up until like about six months ago or so. And we had up to 74 pickup drop-offs per day, or the authorized pickup drop-offs per day. And now we are applying only for 9, right? So we operated there for several years without any real problems there at all. And what we're applying nowadays for is like a very significant decrease in the departures from there.
Okay. Thank you for that additional information. Again, Top View is a known quantity, at least, that we have seen a number of other location applications come to us with that operator name on it before. Are there any questions from members of the committee as pertains to this location or the proposed operation? Yeah, so
Yeah, is this a hop on, hop off in any way, or is this also all residential?
This is for a hop on, hop off service.
okay, so
Yeah, and just a
I know.
follow up. if I
Sure.
may. So you're listing, so one drop off, one pickup on the hour. Is it a quarter after the hour, or does it vary hour to hour?
It's a quarter after each hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m.
Okay, and so so the drop off happens and then the pickup, is it the same bus?
No, it's the same. Like the bus comes in to the bus stop, parks at the bus stop safely. Then we let passengers get off the bus, and then if someone is someone's waiting to get on the bus, then they get on the bus. It takes on average less than about 2 minutes or so, and then the bus is on the way. It really stays there less than 3 minutes. The average is like 2 minutes and something.
So a single stop is letting passengers off, new passengers on, and you're saying that the bus is gone again within 2 minutes on average?
Yeah.
So all the people who are getting on the bus are already shepherded on the sidewalk, waiting for the bus to arrive?
You're saying all the people are already waiting on the sidewalk when the bus gets there?
Yeah, I mean, whoever is waiting is on the sidewalk, correct?
Is there an operator or a conductor of that group standing on the sidewalk with them?
Actually, that depends on our forecast for the number of passengers. So if we project that we're going to sell more than the threshold, then we have a bus stop coordinator or like a staff member there. If it's going to be like a slow day and we project that there'll be almost like nobody waiting there, then we don't have anybody there. That's valid for all bus stops now, because we operate approximately 50 stops throughout New York, and that's valid for all bus stops, not only specifically to this bus stop.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from any members of the committee? All right, not seeing any questions. Any other questions from the committee? We will throw things open to any members of the public who are in attendance. If you have a question or comment, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom now. We see one, and it's Carlo. Carlo, you can unmute yourself.
Great, thanks. Same general comment as last time regarding the Winter Garden. I know that there will be some overlap here, but it sounds like this operator has experience working in this space in the past, so I'm sure that they will be mindful of egress from the theater, and they will that will not cause a potential issue. So we are once again satisfied with this location. Just want everyone to keep in mind that there is a theater there that lets people out during the week.
All right. Thanks very much, Carlo. If you have any other comments or questions as a member of the public, last chance.
I'm just curious,
Sorry,
what,
Sarah.
what theater is it?
The
The
Winter
Winter Garden.
the
Oh,
Winter Garden.
thank you, Lisa.
Okay, not seeing any other hands from members of the public, we will take it into our business session for this item. Sounds pretty similar to what we dealt with last time.
I just have
Does-
one more question on
Yep.
this, which
Well,
I
okay.
tried to do on the.
Sure.
Is it
A comment or a question
It's a question.
for the operator?
No.
Okay.
Just for our process.
Sure.
I know this is a very big operator. But I tried to do due diligence with, through DOT to see if there had been, public complaints. And I don't know if there's a way to get at that other than doing a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request. And I don't know if anyone here knows that and whether or not that's something that we should take into account when we do due diligence, in these arenas.
Well, let's separate those into two questions. First, Colleen, can you speak to whether that data is publicly available about complaints about an operator?
So, and again, really good question. So our office, my office, that is, if, when or should we get complaints about a operator being at a location for long periods of time idling or, doing something, out of compliance? I always, send this to our bus stop management. They're the ones who would reach out to the applicant and let them know of the complaints. We also can set up time-lapse camera to see exactly how serious these complaints are. So yes, we do monitor the sites and we do, investigate the complaints that we get.
Thanks, Colleen.
Welcome.
As to your second question, Zool, about whether that should factor into our criteria, I guess I'll just remind of what our precedent is for dealing with these at this point, which is that DOT, believes they have to issue these. So the best use of our voice as a board is to characterize whether this is the best location for it, or whether we have significant concern about this location, whereby we'd like to influence them to choose another location. The other location could very well be somewhere else in our district. We can't really give a blanket, we don't think this should be issued at all to this operator. So I'll put it back on you a little bit to say, if we think that any information about complaints would help us determine whether this is the best location, or whether we say would be okay with it being a block north or a block west or somewhere or sent over to 12th Avenue. We don't really know for sure. But if we think it would be a factor in this block versus another block, then yeah, it could be a factor. If on the other hand, it would just lead us to want to deny this entirely, then that doesn't really help us, because we can't reasonably, at this point, tell DOT we want to see this denied entirely and expect that they'll deny it. That has not been our experience.
I understand and I appreciate that very much. The only concern I have, should there be, and there doesn't seem to be anything like this in this case, a civil or a criminal complaint against any company which would take this.
Yeah, I don't have the information to answer that. So I do believe we're essentially still talking about probably a position very similar to the one that we adopted for the other operator at this exact same location. Are there any other comments from any members of the committee? Okay, well, in that case, if we were to adopt a resolution characterizing essentially the same feedback that we just heard, no significant concern, but noting for the operators to be aware of the egress times at the Winter Garden, and probably similarly to our other resolution, a focus on picking up and dropping off quickly, as there could be other operators operating in the same time frame in the same hours. That we should simply note that for the operators. Unless there's any other comment To the contrary, would anyone want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion and a second, and so we will take this resolution to a vote as well.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Mohit,
Yes.
Ankur,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tristan.
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Tiffany,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
Zool,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, Austin, same deal. We will pass this resolution characterizing that there was no significant concern with this location to the full board for a vote on Thursday, November 9th. You can certainly join that to speak during the meeting's public session if you want. But otherwise, the resolution will most likely be voted on that night and then passed back to DOT.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Moving right along to our third and final agenda item for the evening, Fifth Avenue Association has a presentation on their proposed 2023 holiday streets proposal. Are we joined today by anyone from Fifth Avenue Association?
Yes, I am Marie Boster and I'm the president of the Fifth Avenue Association. I am also joined by Jennifer Stewart, who shows up as Nissa Heeman, but she is our new VP of Marketing and Events.
Hello, everyone.
I am happy to share my screen if you wanted me to just sort of go into it, if that sounds good.
Please do.
Okay, great. 1 second. Let me cue that up. Okay. All right. Hopefully that's visible. So the Fifth Avenue Association is,
We're seeing the preview of the next slide at the same time, by the way.
oh, that's strange. Okay, let me,
You're in a presenter mode and you might want.
yeah, my double. Is that where?
That's better. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
That's desktop 2. I was showing you desktop 1. So I'm Marie Boster. I'm the president of the Fifth Avenue Association. We are, as you all know, a business improvement district, but we were also founded in 1907 before there were business improvement districts to make Fifth Avenue exceptional space. We have been leaders at the center of urbanism and promotion, and our boundaries are from 46th to 61st, and then 57th from Madison to 6th Avenue. As you can imagine, the holidays are a very critical time for us. Many of our retailers pay rent all year long to get that 1 month of really exceptional sales for the holiday. And we think about our holiday activations in 3 distinct buckets. First is the decor, which we have not released publicly, but I have a prototype behind me. It's strategic that I made my backdrop this because we don't want this to leak yet. We have not announced it yet, but I did want to sort of show you. So if it leaks, I will know where it came from. But this year, we're very excited that we are putting 50 5-foot wide bases with live holiday trees illuminated in warm white light, very simple. This is the greenest holiday decor we've ever brought to Fifth Avenue. And there will be, this is from our prototype sighting in August, where New York being New York, we were literally told it's too effing early for Christmas, but you know, we needed to make sure that this worked for our retailers and that our stores and buildings were okay with where we are siting them. There will be 2 to 3 per block and a couple on 57th Street, and then the subway. We plan to put a couple by 53rd Street, which is where the subway entrance is, to just sort of make for a sort of welcoming, beautiful holiday experience on Fifth. We're also very excited to celebrate sort of holidays overall in the city. I know you all love New York because of your service on the community board, and New York City was the first place to have a public Christmas tree in this country. That was in Madison Square Park, but then we were also the first city in the world to have an electrified Christmas tree, thanks to Mr. Thomas Edison. So we are leaning into sort of some of the things that we've done best, and also just sort of a very elegant tree decor. We will also have a photo arch. A photo arch is just sort of our language to say a place for people to interact, take selfies, and walk through. We plan to put that up by GM Plaza, where there's just an abundance of sidewalk space. Our other bucket is marketing, which is sort of how we talk about Fifth Avenue and holidays. That's less relevant to the community board because it doesn't take up space and it's not anything on the sidewalk or the streets. But it's certainly important to us and our members. And then the third, which is what I think you're most interested in, and I will take questions on any of these, is our open streets. So last year we had the first Fifth Avenue for All, which was the first 3 Sundays in December. Fifth Avenue was closed to vehicular traffic from 47th to 57th Street. And it was a unique opportunity for people to spill out into the sidewalks and sort of have a new holiday experience on Fifth. I think everyone knows that New York and the holidays, people think about certain iconic places, and I think they are probably all in this community board. So Fifth Avenue, Rockefeller Center, Radio City Music Hall, people, just, we want people to feel nostalgic for that. We want New Yorkers to feel connected to that. So this was our first go around. We had a shoestring budget. We didn't have a lot of time to plan, and we did the best that we could. I'm going to show you some photos just to remind you of some of the sort of experiences that people had. I always think it's like hard to imagine. When I was doing this, we've been working on this for months, but as we start to what Fifth Avenue looks like in December, but here are some photos. And here's just, what I felt like it was really just sort of a sign that the pandemic was behind us, that people were out enjoying New York and we were giving them this new way to do it. Our 4 successes, there are many more, but sort of 4 that I'll highlight are, people in Europe and Australia knew that Fifth Avenue had been closed to vehicular traffic, and were very, they were talking about Fifth Avenue, and we saw some increases in sales. The mayor's office announced some data about MasterCard spending a couple of weeks ago. It was unique. It was nothing that anyone had ever been able to do for the holidays before. And also when cars aren't around, we know it's a safer pedestrian experience. Our priorities for the Open Streets 2023 program. When the mayor came to visit in the last Open Streets and last year, he said, let's do more of this. It's expensive. We'll see what happens. I don't have a final plan for that, but I will show you our proposal, and then you'll see how we are looking to grow it. We were told by the city that we needed to have fewer, what they refer to as dead zones, or, in a positive way, saying every block to have an experience. Last year being the first time and not a lot of time, we felt like there was an opportunity for our members to sort of provide some offerings, some art, some giveaways, something that would, add some entertainment. And we have members who have said we're interested in participating this year, which is great. And then, involve, and then make sure that, we have exciting sort of moments for people to Instagram about, to talk about, to write about, to recommend to their friends. So our proposed details for 2023, which are not confirmed and not finalized, but what we have been working towards are 4 Sundays. The last Sunday in November, so the Sunday after Thanksgiving, would be the first, and the following 3 consecutive Sundays in December. The 4th Sunday in December is December 24th. So we wanted to make it more days. It really didn't, December 24th there were challenges with staffing. One of the other ways we wanted to grow it was to go to 59th Street. And last year it ended at 57th. Tiffany was under renovation at that point. And to end it, there were two large sanitation sand trucks at 57th parked in front of Tiffany's in Bulgari. And as you can imagine, I don't think any store, no matter what the price point of their offerings, would think that was on brand for them. And so, Tiffany has made the largest investment, or it's LVMH, their holding company, in the Tiffany renovation that opened in April. And Tiffany is a New York institution. We want their store to shine. We want them to be excited. We want them to be included. We also know that people equate the Plaza Hotel with the holidays. The Pulitzer Fountain is sort of seen as a gateway to Central Park, GM Plaza. Bergdorf's windows are iconic. Bergdorf worries about sidewalk safety because so many people come to see their windows in the holiday season. So they were sort of eager to have extra space for people to come see their windows. So we proposed going to 59th. This happens a lot. This is not unprecedented. The Easter Day parade goes up to 59th. Many parades go up to 59th. The Labor Day parade, you name it, the Columbus Day parade, and they often close 57th Street. We would want to keep 57th Street open. We have, there's hotels on that street. There's a lot of important retailers in our association on that street. And what we found last year with it ending at 57th, the Fifth Avenue traffic just sort of teed into 57th, and it made 57th just gridlock, that it was like just parked cars for the duration of the open streets. And sort of our conjecture is that closing it earlier will actually keep that cross street more open and more serviceable, and also certainly be a better experience for the retailers on 57th. Our hotels in the association and nearby were concerned about this because Sundays are getaway days, meaning they have guests checking out and need to get to the airport. How can they, manage them out? But once they learned that cross streets were open, they were much more positive and amenable to the program. And so having those cross streets functioning is certainly important for our membership. Some of the programming highlights, I sort of talked about some of the inspiration for our decor and the history of Christmas trees and holiday trees in New York. But in our programming for Open Streets, we've leaned into a very similar theme, which is 52nd Street is known as Swing Street. It had the highest number of jazz clubs per capita in the world. Some of the greatest jazz artists ever got their start or were doing their thing and performing on 52nd Street. New York City's history with jazz is so rich, and it certainly crossed through on Fifth Avenue. So we've been working with Doris Duke to get some of their world-renowned jazz artists to perform on Fifth Avenue as a gift, as part of our programming. But also we want to highlight the amazing talent in our public schools and around New York City. So we have performances planned from LaGuardia High School, Brooklyn School of Music, the Celia Cruz Performing Arts School, the Frank Sinatra School in Queens. Wonderful, wonderful New Yorkers and New York students. Last year, we had one church participate in our Open Streets, and that was after the first one. They're like, oh, we could do something. This year, we've been working very closely with the 3 churches in the association to have them perform. And then also just street level performance. We had marching, you saw a picture of the marching band, the drum line, but bringing a marching band, some drum lines. Our food offerings, again, trying to highlight New York, trying to bring in local vendors, trying to highlight holidays and Fifth Avenue. So some really fun offerings. We have a Bobo company that wants to do Fifth Avenue pearls. the modern, I hope I'm not giving away, don't write this, plans on being there. But some really great food vendors that sort of like lean into New York and holidays. And then some fun things around the GM building, giveaway, a little entertainment, the like. And that is the end of my presentation. I can take this off screen share, as you don't need to see that, and just field any questions that you may have about holidays.
Thanks, Marie.
Sure.
Any questions from any members of the committee?
I got a question.
Yeah.
What entity is responsible for managing the traffic and the, I'd say, inevitable gridlock that happens in this situation? I'm thinking a lot of pedestrians and emergency vehicles getting in and out. Is that the Fifth Avenue Association, or would that be the police department?
So the actual closing of the street is done by NYPD and DOT. The crosswalks, the barricades, the pedestrian safety is done mainly by NYPD, but we do support. So we have a dedicated force of community safety officers. We double that squad. We actually probably going to do more than that if it's bigger this year. So primary responsibility is the city. This is the city closing the street. They operate the streets. That is their authority, but we will support with additional community safety officers and staff members to help with pedestrian safety.
Were there any safety issues last year?
No, I'm knocking on wood, but we were very fortunate. We didn't have a single incident.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Hi, so first I want to just say I went to the Open Street last year. I thought it was incredible. Very excited to hear that you're expanding it this year. I have two questions.
We'll see. It's not final. So like, this is our proposal. We will see what happens. It's very expensive to do, and we don't have final confirmation yet. So these are hopes, these are proposals, but yes, please.
Okay. I'm glad you were considering it. My first question is there a reason why it's just Sundays, or have you thought about Saturdays and Sundays? I know that, the weekends around the holiday tend to be the very crowded time. So I'm a little curious about that. And then my second question is, after the success of last year's program, there was a lot of reporting that included the Fifth Avenue Association and Bryant Park Corporation and a few other stakeholders about a proposed redesign of the street that Mayor Adams has been thinking about for 42nd to 59th Street. And I wanted to know if you're using information from this year's program to sort of provide input into the administration on that, and what your thoughts are on that, if you could speak to that as well.
Absolutely. So last year, when the mayor came to visit Fifth Avenue for the open streets, that same day, he put out a press release announcing the forming of a committee to study what the future of Fifth Avenue could look like. And that committee, it has convened. The Fifth Avenue Association is contributing to the study. It's a multi-million-dollar study just to understand what could be done on Fifth Avenue. And that is underway. And the press release, the most recent press release that talked about open streets, it did also announce that the design team and traffic team and study team had been selected by New York City EDC, which is the project lead. So they are leading this effort. EDC sort of is like, it's their on-call consultants who are up for consideration to sort of say, we are going to examine this. So that just got kicked off. There is a public input process and calendar. The community board is part of that. We're working on scheduling sometime soon, but there's currently no designs to react to. They just you have to understand what is possible. So that yes, it is exciting to go from my housemate, my coworker just arrived, my 2.5-year-old. Just not supposed to happen. Yeah. Any other part of that question I can answer?
Well, just to follow up on that, Marie, do you have any upcoming milestones or timeframes that we can be aware of? As far as the teams in EDC and the design process go?
Oh, I'm in the mid, yeah. Sorry. We'll get back to you about that. But yes, there is feedback from the community board in the timeline, in the timeframe and schedule, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, thanks. And for what,
then
did you have?
The other question was, any possibility for Saturdays, or is there a reason it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
Sunday?
So, yeah, so our members, look, Open Streets is not unanimously popular among my members. And Sunday, I just will give you like a little perspective on sort of shopping climate, which is some of the stores in the Fifth Avenue Association who are, their main product that they sell is done by appointments. And when Open Streets was announced, they saw those appointments get rescheduled, because if you're going to buy a 6-figure piece of jewelry, and God bless the people who can do that and who do that, you sort of want a predictable environment, and having the street be an open street, it's just a different way. It's not the same environment of getting in, making a big purchase, leaving with a large purchase. So Sundays was the better day for our members, and that's what we would want to do going forward.
Great, thank you. Joel.
And that's based on member input, like I'm here to support our businesses and make sure that they're successful and can pay taxes and employ people, and Sunday was the better day for them.
So, question on the other end of the economic spectrum.
Sure.
Fifth Avenue is a huge corridor for both local buses and commuter buses, MTA Express buses, buses from Westchester. Where do they go when they hit 59th Street? I mean, last year they went across 57th Street, which was incredible gridlock. But where are they going to go now if the street's closed at 59th, or even if it's closed at 57th again?
I don't make those routes, and I don't know what southbound street they would go, but I don't know whether they just get diverted to 3rd Avenue further up and then take 3rd Avenue south. Certainly the express buses, which are commuter buses, probably are not as busy on the weekends as they are during the week.
Would Colleen know that?
I don't think that's up to DOT either. But,
It's MTA.
Yeah, it's MTA.
Okay.
Hopefully they don't go on 3rd Avenue.
Hopefully they don't take 3rd.
Yeah, Michael.
I just had a question about, you were talking about it's very expensive and the expenses involved. Could you just give us a little more information about that, and potentially, who covers the costs, et cetera?
So the programming piece, meaning like entertainment, food, decorations, that's the association, but the NYPD person power to close the street, the DOT piece, the extra NYPD officers, that cost is borne out by the city.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about whether your members will provide restroom facilities for the crowds, or whether you will have porta potties or equivalent up and down Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, we will not provide porta potties. This is for people to experience the street, but also, we want people to shop. That's our goal. Several of our, as you may know, if your store is of a certain square footage, you have to have bathrooms available. And so the stores that provide bathrooms will continue to provide bathrooms.
Michael?
Oh, and just one other comment, or not comment, question was, are all the events sort of done by your members, or do you also open it up to other corporations or New York-based organizations?
So our our members, we have not, I think we all have to balance the commercialization of public spaces. And we obviously don't have entertainment on Fifth Avenue, but sort of the giveaways, those are from our members. And we did some deliberating with our board and discussions with our members, and that's what they were comfortable with. I mean, we want to reward people who pay the rents on Fifth Avenue. And so and sort of like where you draw the line. I discussed with them, if someone was not a retailer, would they be interested? And it was sort of like, we don't want to commercialize Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue, it's a gift to New Yorkers. And that, we also have to be mindful of pedestrian space. So there are actually some blocks where, based on the interest, we don't want to do more. And so we have to have enough store interest.
My question was more in the sense of like open season on sort of corporate activations or streaming services, things like that might want to take over, but.
Yeah, I mean, that has not happened in my tenure as Fifth Avenue Association without an anchor member saying we are part of this. So it has only happened when a store has said we are doing something with X, and that happens in their store, and then that spills over into the street, and that is permitted by SAPO and follows the guidelines of our city streets.
Thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions from members of the committee? All right, not seeing any other questions from the committee, we will throw things open to any members of the public who are in attendance. If you have a comment or a question, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom now. All right, I see 2 total. And we'll start with Charles. Charles, feel free to ask your question or comment, and try to limit it to 2 minutes. You can
Hi, Charles.
Charles, it looks like you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Okay, we can't hear you, Charles. I mean, it looks like Zoom has you unmuted, but something might be wrong with your microphone or your audio. We'll give you a second to try to address it, and we'll go to Joseph. Joseph, you are allowed to talk. You can unmute yourself for your comment or question.
Hi, it's Joe Bauman. I'm the president of the Olympic Tower condominium at 51st Street. So just a couple of things, I guess. I was going to ask about the downtown traffic. I take the answer as being we don't know at this point. As soon as you could kind of make that known, I guess would be helpful, just to get the word out to building like ours, which has residents, on the street and may need to make other plans for those Sundays. More functionally, I guess, just things I haven't heard mentioned. I presume that bikes will be routed away as well as cars. Or is that in the domain of the DOT as well?
Bikes were not permitted last year. There wasn't enough room for them, and there isn't and not, I don't know of a single open street program throughout the 5 boroughs that has bikes as
okay. And the other was just, I didn't hear mention of what the hours would be, the kind of
the proposed is noon to 6 p.m. It takes 2 hours to close it, so it'd be the closure would begin at 10 and it would be reopened by 8.
Okay.
But open streets operations would be from noon to 6.
Okay.
Of course.
That was really it. Thank you.
It's nice to meet you. Anyway, you're a member of the association, so it's good to have you here.
Okay, thanks, Joe. We'll try for Charles again. Charles, you're allowed to talk if you can unmute yourself. Yeah, unfortunately, we still can't hear anything from you. Don't think they have access. I don't think attendees have access to the chat, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to get, oh, and he signed off. Maybe he's trying to rejoin.
Yeah, not gonna really help them.
Is there any way, I'm happy to field the question from Charles.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, we can, if there are any, maybe Charles can submit his question, or we could have the board office submit it in writing or something so we can get back to him. Okay, any other final comments or questions from members of the public? Okay, not seeing any additional hands. I mean, Marie, thank you so much for bringing all this information to us. We know things aren't finalized, but kind of appreciate the sneak preview. If there's any other type of particular feedback you're looking for, I suppose let us know and let us know where, if anyone should, reach out with any additional feedback. Yeah, members of the community are always happy to provide feedback.
Great. Well, I'm also happy to have members should open streets happen. We would love to have you, and I would love to take a walk with some of you to just sort of get your observations and thinking about how we are trying to make this better every year.
Okay, thanks. Charles has rejoined. We're going to try one more time to see if he can ask his question. No, unfortunately, we can't hear you, Charles. Just no audio at all, unfortunately. We did, Charles, if you do have a question, we talked about perhaps getting the board office to send it along to Marie and the association, so we can get you an answer offline.
And I'm happy to have you call our office. You can ask for me through the switchboard, Fifth Avenue Association. I'm happy to take any other questions.
Okay, thanks, Marie. Well, without any other questions, right now, thanks for coming in, and we'll look forward as well to hearing any updates from you or the city about the ongoing design process as well. Okay, well, thanks to the Fifth Avenue Association for providing that preview and that update for us today. That concludes our official agenda for the evening. As a piece of old business, I did want to point out that DOT read and reviewed our resolution from 2 months ago in regards to the 8th Avenue bus stop location, of which 60 or so members, residents of the Penn South complex and area complain about it, and DOT has expressed a willingness to look at a different location. So our board office is in communication with Colleen, and we appreciate Colleen reaching out about that. Colleen will be responding very soon, but thanks for taking that into consideration. So obviously when there are concerns about a location, it makes sense to bring them to DOT's attention. So that was a piece of old business. Is there any new business from anyone? All right, not seeing any. That brings our agenda for the evening to a close. Thanks, Marie and the Fifth Avenue Association. Thanks to everyone who was in attendance. Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like there is perhaps a piece of new business from a member of the public. Cynthia, did you have something you wanted to raise?
Yes, hi. Sorry if this isn't the right platform. My name is Cynthia Kurzweil, and I live in Flatiron. And I'm calling because there was something that was posted, like one random spot a couple of avenues away, about 3 West 18th Street, a possible new liquor license that goes to 2 a.m. And I was wondering, would you be able to tell us when it would be on the agenda? Multiple people from our building have called the CB5 office and sent emails and haven't been able to get a confirmation on when that would be, or even a response or anyone picking up the phone.
Got it. I don't know the answer about that specific permit, but a different community board 5 committee, the state licenses and permits committee meets next on Wednesday, November 1st. So if it's
That's where we should bring it up.
Yeah, exactly. And I would keep an eye on the calendar on cb5.org. The agenda for that meeting looks like it's still TBD. But I would specifically keep an eye on that agenda as the permits for the month for that agenda get finalized. You would see it show up there, and you would be able to participate and speak at that meeting.
Would you be able to tell us at all? Because I had spoken at one point a week or two ago, or beginning of October. We had seen one posting that was a couple avenues away, but we didn't see any postings nearby. And when I spoke to them, they said they would look into that. And it sounded like they would post something, but still nothing's been posted. Out of 30 some odd people, I was the only one who saw it and took a picture of it. So it seems kind of strange. And I realize that you guys aren't the right committee, but do you know who I could call for that?
Posted, it should have a date of the hearing, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know anything about that particular posting. I mean, I would continue to suggest that our office manager here at the board office is the appropriate person to contact.
Is that the person who is a man's name who's since left? Because his voicemail just says call someone else.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Our office manager is Marisa Mack, who's
Marisa
here
Mack.
every day. Marisa Mack. I never emailed it. I never emailed it over directly. Is it info@cb5.org?
Yeah, I've sent emails to that. Nobody's answered.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
What's the number to call?
The number for Community Board 5 on the website is.
Okay, I've called that number. I haven't been able to get anyone to respond, and neither has anyone else around here. But okay. So I'll try to go next to November 1st.
I will raise that with Marisa. Can you give me your name one more time?
Cynthia
Kurzweil, is that right?
Kurzweil, yeah, Kurzweil. But I know
Okay.
I'm not the only one who's reached out and left messages.
And the permit is specifically in regards to what location?
3 West 18th.
Okay, we'll try to raise that. I know that our board office is inundated right now with the new cannabis process and dealing with a lot of those licenses. So it might just be a bandwidth issue at this point, and I apologize that you haven't gotten a response. but
No,
we
that's
will,
fair. We just are concerned that it's gonna get pushed through before any of us actually are aware of it even coming up, considering that there really
Sure.
wasn't any notification given.
If it is happening, it'll certainly show up on the state licenses and permits committee agenda.
Okay,
November
is that
1st.
the CB5 state licenses agenda that would be on?
Yeah, that's right. It's a committee of CB5.
Okay, so that should be November 1st.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Again, the agenda is not set yet, but if it were going through that committee, that's the next committee meeting date.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Joe, did you have new business as well?
Actually, EJ, could you move through the old business very quickly? I had one question, not wanting to prolong the meeting, obviously longer than necessary, but I haven't heard in a long time about the bus lane or bike lane proposals on Fifth Avenue. I've tried to monitor the agendas for the meeting. I haven't seen it. Is it basically just back in the city's hands to come back?
I haven't heard any more about that either, since it was raised, I think, years ago at this
It was
point.
pre-COVID, probably the last. series.
Yeah, pre-COVID. I suspect it has been, at least as far as I know, totally abandoned by the city, probably in favor of the redesign effort that has been embraced by the Adams administration and which Marie spoke about.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't missing something.
Sure. Yeah, no, we haven't gotten any more information or ever heard about that
Thank you.
again either.
Thank you.
Okay, well, not seeing any other new business, this evening's meeting is adjourned. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
I sent a note
Thank
to
you.
the team that's working on that.
Just gonna